From the Pelicans considering replacing Zion before the 2023 NBA draft to the Charlotte Hornets being the perfect landing spot for the All-Star, here's all that you need to know about the rumors surrounding Zion Williamson, which began with New Orleans showing interest in moving him on in favor of Scoot Henderson. Every year, the NBA draft promises to be an entertaining affair. It's so much fun to look at some of the most talented youngsters getting their dream moves, but 2023's draft one-upped every other draft. That's because there were teams in the NBA looking to move some of the biggest names on just for a shot at one of the top 3 names in the draft class. Of course, there's no way the San Antonio Spurs would have given up Victor Wembanyama, but the Pelicans, along with many others, tried to sway the Hornets and the Trail Blazers to give up Brandon Miller or Henderson. The Pelicans in particular went all out, and I couldn't believe some of the reports, where the Pelicans were ready to trade away the face of their franchise in exchange for the 19-year-old 5-star recruit, Henderson. More importantly, the Pels weren't playing around. They were very serious about this trade because they even contacted the Hornets to trade for Scoot before the Trail Blazers can pick him up at 3rd. The deal was that Charlotte will pick and trade the young guard to New Orleans and get Zion Williamson in return. I don't know which side is more stupid, the Hornets for not taking this deal or the Pelicans for offering it. At the end of the day, the Hornets picked Miller, Henderson ended up in Portland, and Zion's still a Pelican. But that's not the end of these rumors, because when the franchise isn't putting out fires of Williamson's affair with an adult actress, they're looking for a way to trade him and rebuild. The sensible question to ask here is, why is New Orleans so hell-bent on trading Zion? The answer is, why not? He's been around for a few years now, but all he has to show for his tremendous talent are injuries, a poor attitude which is hindering his development, and a supermax contract that hasn't been remotely justified. Can you blame the Pels for losing patience with him? No one in the NBA can ever doubt just how good Zion is when he's fit and firing. But the problem is with his extensive injury record. The power forward has spent about as much time on the sidelines in street clothes than he has on the court for the franchise, and that's insane. Of course, one look at his statistics, averaging nearly 26 points in his 3 seasons in the NBA, you can't help but feel that he's a generational talent. Is that enough to guarantee that Zion will become a Hall of Famer, or go down in history as one of the all-time greats? Or forget that. Is that enough for the Pelicans to hope for a championship? Definitely not. Talent gets you to the NBA. If you want to make it, you gotta work hard. I don't know if Williamson's got the mindset to do that, and like many before him, he seems to be content with making it to the big leagues instead of making it big in the NBA. For such hopeless options, one of the tricks that works is a change of scenery, and that's why the New York Knicks are offering him a way out. Grab a salt box, take a pinch, and then listen to what I have to say about this trade. There isn't an NBA player that the Knicks haven't been linked with. They're desperate for a superstar in their ranks, and if I'm being honest, I genuinely think they're one big name away from becoming championship contenders. Could that big name be Zion Williamson? My question is, why not? He's tailor-made for the way the Knicks play, and they're not a small market team either. The franchise provides Zion with a bigger fan base, of course. That's not always a good thing, but the appeal of playing in front of a packed Madison Square Garden every week is too much to overlook. Many analysts believe that the Pelicans are too small a franchise for a player like Zion, and that's why a move to New York makes sense for everyone involved. The Knicks would potentially include Julius Randle in the trade. It'd be a 1-for-1 match in terms of salary, and they'll have to include a couple of first-round picks to convince the Pels. Add a second trade in the mix, and Zion's got plenty of help around him to contend in the East. A reunion will also be on the cards, because R.J. Barrett will get to play with his college teammate Zion. The only question is, are the Knicks brave enough to make a sizable bet on Williamson staying healthy? It's too big a risk, but the upside is getting someone who could trump Carmelo Anthony, and that's a risk worth taking. At the same time, though, the Pels have tried to shut these rumors up. They can't deny that they tried to trade Zion away before the NBA draft, and that's something which could potentially create some bad blood between the superstar and the franchise. Look at how the Celtics' relationship has turned sour with Jaylen Brown, all because they offered him as part of a trade to bring Kevin Durant to Boston. I don't think the Pels were that close to making the trade, so there's a chance that Zion won't overreact. especially given how the franchise is paying big money to their PR team because of all the mess that Williamson's caught up in. They're also not a stupid franchise. New Orleans front office understands that they have limited resources. Of course, they can't match what the Phoenix Suns are doing, and that's why they might not have an option but to run it back with Zion. It's not a bad idea. He's still unstoppable every time he plays, and if the Pelicans can keep him healthy for the majority of a campaign, they'll comfortably make the playoffs. Check out the 2022-23 season, for instance. They were near the top when Zion was fit, and that's not a surprise. But keeping him fit is the biggest question mark. That said, the Pelicans have publicly expressed their interest in retaining the superstar forward, but they'll find it hard to do so. That's because the Portland Trail Blazers really dig the idea of Zion Williamson playing in Rip City, and I don't blame them. They've been trying their best to put a proper supporting cast around Damian Lillard. But with Dame finally set to depart Portland, the Trail Blazers could enter talks with the Pelicans. It wouldn't be the ideal destination for Lillard. There's going to be a lot of trouble in matching the salaries, but where there's a will, there's a way. This is an attractive idea because the Trail Blazers can provide Zion with some brilliant young talent, like Anfernee Simons, Scoot Henderson, and Shaedon Sharpe. They've got too much depth in their guards department, even with Lillard on his way out. And all they really need is someone like Zion to dominate the paint with his insane build. On the other hand, I don't think the Pels need Dame, but they wouldn't ever say no to someone like Lillard. He's made it clear that he wants Miami, but he also talked about how he wants to play for a good team, not a great team. The Pelicans are a very good team, but they're not great. And Damian would still get his flowers if he takes them to a championship. He'd cook in the backcourt with CJ McCollum, while Trey Murphy III will get the chance to play in the Williamson position, which he's been doing in Zion's absence. Brandon Ingram and Herb Jones, along with Jonas Valanciunas, make up a pretty decent roster, and one that could immediately challenge in a tough Western Conference. But if Zion's done with the West, then the Charlotte Hornets could be the perfect landing spot for him. The Hornets were definitely interested in a potential Zion-Scoot swap before the draft, but they decided to bring Brandon Miller to the city, and that's not a bad move at all. If they're still interested in reviving this deal, all they need to do is make a call. I know the Hornets don't have Henderson to give up, but maybe the best route out for Michael Jordan's team is to get a superstar instead of a budding star. Trade Miller along with Gordon Hayward, and you get Zion in return. It's a no-brainer from where I'm sitting, because take a deep breath and then think about the prospect of LaMelo Ball and Zion playing together. The alley-oops are going to be devastating for the opposition, but so much fun to watch for the neutrals. Only problem is if the Hornets can keep this duo injury-free, because if they do that, the Hornets will immediately become a playoff side. So, from the Hornets offering Zion a chance to contend from the East to the Pelicans considering replacing Zion before the 2023 NBA draft, these were the trade rumors surrounding Zion Williamson.